I've never seen this dude before. Shout out to Legend Productions. He put out Flight's 1v1 stats, his record, his shot chart. So let's see how good Flight actually was this month.
What's good, YouTube? Today I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be analyzing June Flight's 1v1s. Of course, this is the 5th straight year that I've done this type of video, so I want to thank you guys for keeping this series alive. Just like the other videos, I'll be breaking down June Flight's game, his 1v1 record, his stats, and a shot chart with all his makes and misses. Then at the end of the video, I'll be comparing this June Flight to the past years to see how much he has improved. The stats in this video will shock you, so without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's talk about June Flight's overall game this year. Offensively, Flight improved tremendously at the rim. He decided to play more off 2 feet, which worked in his favor. He was way more controlled and even developed a nice step through. He got a lot of people in the air since they were all going for the block. Also, Flight had a nice setup with the hesitation that allowed him to explode and quickly gather himself at the rim. It did look like Flight gained some muscle since he was finally leaning into the contact. However, something that Flight needs to improve is his pace. At times, he plays way too fast, which results in easy missed layups. He needs to know when to slow down and stop making his shots harder than they need to be. The potential and improvement are there, but it's those plays that make the difference and decide a game. Also, Flight needs to stop being too predictable. There were many instances where the defense already knew what he was going to do before he even did it.
Easy! Whoa, that was so embarrassing.
That ain't your June. That shit last year, June Flight. Go.
That's when the basketball IQ comes in. He needs to adjust just like the defense is doing and learn how to counter his shots. Now, when it came to his jump shot, Flight was very inconsistent. At times, he showed glimpses of a proper form, but then he will go on rough stretches. For example, when he played Kenny, Flight started the game 3-for-4 from downtown. His follow-through looked great and he had the right shooting motion. However, due to his poor stamina, he missed the next 4 consecutive threes. These shots were all rushed and some even way too far. Flight needs to stop relying so heavily on his three. Later in the shot chart, you're gonna notice that a good majority of Flight's misses were deep threes. That type of shot selection cost him a very winnable game against Kenny. At some point, Flight just needs to lay off the dud pack. You saw how much it affected Cash, so if Flight can just lock in for a month, he's going to have the energy to win games. That's also gonna prevent more air balls, as in this June, Flight averaged roughly an air ball per game. It's the little thing.
He averaged an air ball per game, gang! I ain't never seen no stat like that.
That are going to make the difference between winning and losing a tight game. Lastly, let's talk about Flight's defense. Just like his offense, there were signs of him actually using his size. However, he did have a hard time contesting jumpers. He plays way too far back, and by the time he puts his hands up, he's way too late. Also, he gets blown by way too easily. Guys like Julian Newman had a field day against Flight, and it all starts with his defensive stance. He's literally standing up on defense, and for the millionth time, stop doing this football move. It's never worked and it's only going to
Facts, that football move is ass.
Highlight. There's literally no way you can guard someone with your back turned. This was probably Flight's worst attribute this June, and it all ties to stamina. Once Flight can improve that, he's going to finish games stronger. Now, with all that being said, let's talk about June Flight's 1v1 record and stats from this year. In June of 2025, Flight played a total of 7 1v1 games, and I'm going to count all of them. This includes all 3 games that he played against Julian Newman. With that in mind, Flight didn't win a single game this June and had a record of 0-7. His losses came against Julian Newman 3 times, Jeffrey Bowie, Kenny Shaw, Adrian Harden, and Cash Nasty. His worst overall game was easily against Julian Newman in the first game they played. In that game, Fly got skunked 13-0 and shot 0-4 from the field. field. Now, despite Flight losing every game, he still had some decent shooting performances. His best game stat-wise was against Julian Newman in the third game they played. Flight shot 53% from the field and had 9 points in a really close battle. Now, if you want to see the rest of the stats from the other games, it is on the screen right now, and feel free to pause the video if you want.
So Julian Newman in game 1, 0 for 4 from the 2 from field. 0 for 4 from the 2, no threes. Game 2, Julian Newman 3 for 6, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from the 3. Says 4-1 bucket was cut out. Julian Newman game 3, 8 for 15, 7 for 11 from the 2. It's pretty good. 1 for 4 from the 3, which is cheeks. 9 points. Jeffrey, 9 for 25, 7 for 16, 2 for 9. Kenny Chow, 5 for 17, 2 for 9 from the 2. Holy shit. 3 for 8. Holy shit, Flight. DeAndre Harden, 3 for 20. God damn. 2 for 10. 1 for 10. Ouch. Cash Nasty, 7 for 25. 7 for 18. 0 for 7 from Trey.
To see it. Anyways, to conclude this section of the video, Flight had a June record of 0-7, and when you combine this with his all-time record, Flight is now 24 and 120.
24 and 128 is insane.
Just to give you guys a quick rundown, Flight was 23 and 112 by the end of last June. He also lost to Jesser, Zach TTG, Dino B Balling, Ray Twice, Drift TJ, Silky, Jason DeWeen, and DDG. Just to give you guys a quick rundown, Flight was 20.
My boy, he's just going on a streak. He looking like the Colorado Rockies.
23 and 112 by the end of last June.
By the end of last June. These are all people that he about to name off are people he just played throughout the year.
Lost to Jesser, Zach TTG, Dino B Balling, Ray Twice, Drift TJ, Silky, Jason DeWeen, and DDG this year. He only got 1 win since then, as he beat possibly the worst hooper I've ever seen in Shino. Those 9 losses, as well as the 7 from this June, make the 23 and 112 record go up to 24 and 128. Sheesh. I don't even know what to say at this point. Now let's talk about June Flight's 1v1 stats from this year. In the 7 games that I researched, Flight attempted a total of 112 shots from the field and made 35 of them. 112 field goals will only make it 35? If he would have made even just 50, that would have looked better. Damn. Which results in a 31 total field goal percentage. From 3, Flight attempted 40 shots and only made 8 of them, which results in a 43s and made 8. Holy shit, that's insane. 20 3-point field goal percentage. Now let's take a look at June Flight's shot chart from 2025. Compared to the previous years, there are not as Hold on. He hasn't played as many games. He only played 7 games in June, so it's not that many. Flight's shot chart from 2025. Compared to the previous years, there are not as many shots attempted, but it's still worth breaking down. As you see, Flight was not look at 2024. Oh my god. Flight. Oh my god. Look at 2023. 22 is way worse. Well, he missed so many top of the key shots, it's unreal. 2021, he barely had any misses. 2020 Flight, oh lord. He missed him. He was missing all around the arc. Missing all around the arc. All around the arc. This nigga was just missing everywhere on 2024. He was missing over here. Missing over here, missing a lot up here, missing a lot over here. Many shots attempted, but it's look at that shot right here though. I was trying to look for his furthest shot, and I think this is like one of his furthest shots he's made. That jumper right there.
I haven't seen one that's further. Maybe like one of these right here is probably just further. These two shots.
Still worth breaking down. As you see, Fly was pretty efficient around this right block. This is where most of those 2-foot finishes came from. However, like I said earlier, Fly shot way too many deep threes. Yes, he made some, but the percentages showed that he wasn't consistent. And last but not least, Fly shot terribly in both corners. In fact, he went 0 of 11 in those two spots combined.
Shit.
If Fly can just develop some type,
He doesn't know he's too tired, and he doesn't know how to realize those corner threes are the shortest threes, but they're the hardest because you have no room for error. Can't use the backboard, can't use none of that. You hit the back rim, front rim shorted. You feel me? If you hit the other side of the rim, it'll bounce off long, go on the other side. So it's like, those are tough threes to make.
Type of mid-range game, he's going to be more efficient. Now with that being said, let's compare this June Fly to 2024 first. As you see, Fly's field goal percentage went up by 6% and his three went up by 8%. Obviously there's still a lot more work to do, but it's still improvement. Now in comparison to the other years, this stands out as the most efficient one. 2023 is close to the 3-point percentage, but 2025 has the better total field goal percentage. Obviously the sample size was smaller and with no wins to back it up, but that's what Flight was able to provide this June. Apparently he had a quote-unquote grade 1 calf strain.
Hey guys, now this part right here is where I suffered a devastating injury, my first time having a grade 1 calf strain. Per doctors, they said I should lay off of it about 1 to 3 weeks, but hey, it's June!
So hopefully Flight can heal up, and that pretty much concludes this video. Now we know how 2025 June Flight performed in comparison to previous years. His finishing definitely improved, but his shot and defense need to be better. Flight finished this June averaging 6 points per game while shooting 31% from the field and 20% from 3. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on June Flight this year? What overall?
6 points in a 1v1. What overall would I give June Flight? A good 75. I can give Flight a 75. Good solid 75. Smack it, dabble. Bam.